And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at X-Men Mutant Revolution. This is a game from Wizkids, and Wizkids they're obviously known for making HeroClix and Dice Masters. They have the Marvel license. So I was very interested to hear about this game. Then I heard that it was a reskinning of a game, Spartacus, Blood and Sand. Spartacus was a game about running gladiators and having them fight in an arena. And it was a game that I wasn't really that fond of. And so I was kind of interested to see how this one would measure up. And then I heard that this one was pretty much a carbon copy of that. Then I was like, does that make sense with the theme? Well, first of all, it's not a carbon copy, but it is pretty close. But even if you never heard of Spartacus, watch this. Each player is going to start with one of the leaders of a school. So you have Storm, Cyclops, Magneto, and Wolverine. Now, considering Wolverine, Magneto, and Cyclops are pretty much general leaders, that makes sense. Storm has been a leader in the past. I guess she's kind of fine. Okay, whatever. So you get one of these characters. You will also get the token that comes along with that character. So there is a miniature figure for each of these. These are the only miniatures in the game, but these are considered to be the leaders. So let's say I get Wolverine. I'll take his leader. You also start with a Revolution token, which you'll place on 1. Your goal is to get that Revolution token to 6. That's how you win the game. And then you have a plot token that goes on top of your Revolution token. That shows how many plot points you have each round. Now, at the beginning of the game, you are going to be drawing 1 hero and 2 recruits, which are going to go next to your card. And so these are kind of dealt out randomly, and there's different ones. Some of them are starting recruits, and some of them are recruits you can get during the game. So you shuffle the starting ones, and everybody gets some. So Wolverine might get here Nightcrawler, and he's a hero. And you'll see Nightcrawler has some stats here in the special ability. He also starts with 2 power tokens on him, because it shows 2 power tokens on him. And then over here, you're going to get some students. So here we have Armor and Displaced Angel. Now you might wonder, how is Displaced Angel rather different than regular Angel? Well, I could explain it to you, but then I would sound incredibly nerdy. But he's just out of time and space. Never mind, enough of that. So each of these guys has different stats. Those stats are used when you're in a game itself, running around and attacking things. They also will get a certain number of power tokens placed on them. You're also going to get a pile of Hope Coins. Now, Hope Coins is the currency of this game, and it might be the dumbest name for a currency ever in a game, but forget it, we just call them dollars. And you'll be using those, and so the game is ready to begin. Now, at the beginning of each turn, if players have 6 different characters total around and take one of these tokens off each one of those, then that advances the revolution, and that will make your revolution go up by 1. So that's one of the ways to advance the revolution, but usually that won't happen. Then you're going to acquire hope. I'm almost gagging as I say that, but whatever. Basically, each student you have is going to give you a coin. Each hero you have costs you a coin, but maybe you'll have later on some people who have triumphed. These guys means they were pretty awesome in battle. They will also give you an additional coin. Then players are going to have plot cards dealt out to them. And in turn order, players are going to use these plot cards to do different things. You can play a plot card, but at the top of each plot card is a cost. So, for example, just a target school with no students loses a revolution point. You thought you were going to win with 6 revolution points? Well, I'm going to play this card on you. Now, that cost up here, plot points, it costs 1. I only have 1 plot point, so I would pay that, and then I would be done. There are many cards that have plot points that are too high for me to pay right now. You have to get your revolution points up, or you can ask other players to donate plot points, like this 7 here. Why they would donate them to you? Well, you have to convince them to do different things. So players can play these cards. They can also play these cards, just simply discard them to take the money value that's down in the corner. So I can discard this card and take 2 hope coins. So players are going to be going around the table playing these cards. This has sort of a take that element to it, where you'll be playing cards, and others, there's some cards that can have a bit of a reaction to them. But after we do that, it's time to get more people in the school. Players are going to be bidding on different cards. You'll put out one for each player, and you'll turn over one at a time. So here's the greatest hero in the Marvel Universe, Iceman. And so players can bid on him with their hope coins. They're going to be doing that with a secret bid with these dials here. So you're simply going to move the dial around to however much you want to bid. So maybe I want to bid 4. If you bid 10 or more, you will also get to draw a card if you win the bid. But whatever number you want to bid, everyone reveals that. And if multiple people bid the same amount, then those people bid again with extra coins. And if they eventually there's a tie, no one gets it. But otherwise, eventually someone will win and get the card. So here, if you got Iceman, you add him to your heroes. The next card here is Emma Frost, who is quote-unquote a hero, and you can add her to your team. Then we have here a training card. These cards will buff up one of your existing heroes. So maybe I want Iceman to be Savage. This adds 1 to his attack attribute, so I just would put it underneath Iceman if I win this card. And then another student, Displaced Jean Grey. Again, don't want to get into that story. Now the meat of the game revolves around this board here. This is where players are going to fight and do different things. So at the beginning of each mission turn, players will turn over a mission card. This is Sinister Trouble, Mr. Sinister, or Schism, or Tournament, or Showdown, or Sentinel Swarm, or Apocalypse, or even the Hulk might show up. So there's different cards here that will be flipped over. One will be flipped over and it will tell you what is going to happen in each round. And then players are going to bid again to see who the commander is. Now being the commander gives you a couple things. If you win the commander, you get to increase over here on your revolution track. That's a great thing. But the commander will also kind of pick the starting positions depending on what the mission asks for. So let's say the mission says everyone needs to fight the Hulk. So we'll put some token here in the middle of the board that's the Hulk. And then I'll say, okay, I'm going to get position 1, and you'll see there's different positions on the board. Position 1, I'm offering it to Bob. And Bob says, no problem, I'm going to send Beast to position 1. And I'll say, okay, position 2 to so-and-so. Now you can refuse, but then you'll lose a point. So you can refuse, and sometimes it's worth doing so, but most of the time people won't do that. And they're going to send different people out here, and once everyone has a spot, those people will go to those positions. Now you'll notice there's a few extra spots on the board, and that's because that's for a 2 or 3 player game. And then you'll go around and take turns and fight the mission. Now, when you fight a mission, you're going to have stats. So let's actually look over here. You have attack, defense, and speed. So let's say it's my turn, and I'm going to be we'll use Emma Frost just to be silly. And so Emma Frost starts with a 4 attack, so I'll put a die here, that's 4, a 4 defense, and then a speed of 2. Now, these are also your hit points for the round. Basically, Emma Frost has 10 hit points. Now, she also has a special ability that she might be able to use, but to use these special abilities, you have to pay a power token that's on the character. As the characters go, the first thing you do each round is you're going to roll dice equal to your speed. So her speed is 2. You roll dice. Whoever has the highest total gets to go first, or they get to decide who goes first in initiative order. You can then move on the board. You simply move spaces equal to your speed. So if the higher your speed, the more you can move around. If you're adjacent to somebody or they're within range, you'll notice Emma Frost here has an attack range of 2, then you can attack them. You will roll dice and they will roll defense dice. So let's say Emma Frost with her 4 attack is going to attack Nightcrawler with his 4 defense. Each of them is going to roll dice. So Emma rolls her attack and gets a 4, 3, 2, and 2. Nightcrawler rolls his defense and he gets a 6, 5, 1, and 1. The dice are placed like this from highest to lowest. So she misses, hits, and hits. She's going to get 2 hits on Nightcrawler. Now let's say Nightcrawler only had 3 defense. This last hit would only hit on a 3 or higher if there's nothing obstructing it. So it's kind of a weird thing. Here, his extra defense actually hurt him, but whatever. When you take hits, you have to lower your dice by those results. So Nightcrawler takes 2 hits, so he says, I'll make my defense go down to 3, and my speed go down to 1. Now you can never lower any of your stats below 1 unless that's all you have left. And anytime one of your stats goes below 1, you're automatically out of that round. And if all your stats go below 1, you can be really beat up or even lose that character or hero. It depends. You'll notice that these also change your stats. So if you make your defense go down, you're going to have a harder time defending. You make your attack go down, harder time attacking, your speed go down, you're probably not going to be going first anytime soon. The different missions have different things that will happen over the course of them. Like in this one here, you're supposed to be running up and beating up the Hulk too, but you can fight each other, so there's always that going on in these. And then whoever accomplishes the mission best, according to the mission parameters, will get another of the plot points. And again, the first person to get 6 of those is the winner. There's some more things going on in the game than that, but that gives you a general feel of the game. All right, let's get the differences from Spartacus out of the way. The main difference that this game provides is in the mission deck. These cards change things. In Spartacus, you just fought and you bid on who you thought was going to win in the battle. Well, you can do the same thing here. Because some of the missions do that, but other missions have different things happening. One, there's sentinels attacking, and one, you're trying to persuade this crazy mutant to calm down. And they're very interesting because you want to work together, because you don't want to take out your opponents and then not be able to fight this big creature by himself. But at the same time, you don't really want to help them either. So it's very interesting. And there was one time when I was playing where I sent a guy into an arena and let him die on purpose because I wanted everyone to fail in that mission. Didn't happen, but that's not the point. The idea of the missions is really cool, and I think amplifies this from Spartacus. Now, and this game also, difference is it only has 6 here on the track, while Spartacus went up to 11 and made for a much longer game. All right, so you say, hey, I never played Spartacus. Okay, well, here's my opinions here. First of all, component quality, pretty cool. I like the artwork. I like these miniatures. You don't get to send these miniatures out in the battle very often. Your leader can only go out when you don't have any heroes or students who can get out there in the arena, or if the mission specifically calls for it. And it'd be cool to have miniatures for all the people, but I can certainly understand why they didn't, because there's a lot of different heroes and characters. It's just a very self-aware Marvel game in the sense that it's very caught up. Most of these characters and things are from the last 2 years of the comics, and so I know who most of them are and their stories. Again, don't want to get too nerdy on you. But I like that the flow of the game works, but, okay, there's one thing I'm not a big fan of, and that's the plot deck. There's a couple problems with the plot deck. The plot points that you use, this has a rich gets richer thing. The better you're doing, the more plot points you have to use to spend. These cards can be incredibly powerful, and they have a bit of a take that. It's like, hey, you're going to lose a plot point. And sometimes, after all the work someone's gotten to a plot point, that can be a pain. I like this system. It just doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. There's still a little bit of that, and that has almost a disjointed feeling from the rest of the game. The mission part of the game, very interesting. Running around and attacking things, I like that. I even like the bidding aspect. I like secret bidding. You don't lose your money if you don't win, and so you can bid as much. You're looking, okay, this person has that much money. Should I go against them? Again, taking out, does it make sense that you're bidding with hope coins? No thematic sense there at all. There's lots of little counters and things in the game, but I think the missions provide enough variety that some of these counters are used in that. And while it can be hard for someone who falls behind to catch up, the game does shine best in the 4-player version, because if I'm doing well, and Billy Bob's doing well, and Susie's doing well, and Cynthia is winning, not doing as well, I might bring her along with me, boosting her to take out these other 2. And so we can have that back and forth, and you're not doing so hot, so I'll help you out a little bit here to hurt somebody else. And the game has a bit of that. So where do I stand on this finally? I like it, but I'm not sure that I love it. I think it's a solid game. I certainly like the theme better than Spartacus, and I kind of lean that way. I'm a big superhero fan. But the gameplay is also better, in my opinion, way better in this one. It's a shorter game. The missions are much more interesting, but I still wish they had streamlined to take that elements of the plot thing a little bit. There's still going to be some crazy swings of luck. I don't mind the dice luck as much. That's just the way it is. The combat is a variation of risk combat, which works for me. But sometimes you just get heroes and they don't seem to be doing as well as everyone else. Some of the heroes are fantastic when you take them out to the arena, but that can be balanced by playing a 4-player game. So I like this game. I think you should play it at 3 at the least, 4 for sure if you possibly can. And if you like superheroes and can get over things like hope coins and why you're constantly stuck in an arena fighting, then I think you will enjoy this. It certainly is an improvement on Spartacus. Dice Tower Judgment, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Zabri dvere!
Где?